data without consent. But in very limited instances, like if you need to process the information in order to fulfill the contractual obligation. So let's say I'm Amazon.com and I didn't get your consent to use your information because I was quiet. But we entered into this agreement where I'm supposed to deliver something to you. Okay? So I get that personal information and I process it. Right? I hand it over to the courier company to instruct them to deliver the item to you. My disclosure, right, which is, or my collection, and use, and disclosure, storage of that information, your personal information, is pursuant to the contract that I have with you. Because I can't fulfill my contract if I don't know where to deliver your goods. So in that sense, I don't need to get your consent. But I cannot use it for any other context. No more. At that point, in fact, pag hindi na relevant yung data, you're supposed to destroy it. Okay? In the Philippines, I think one of the major issues will be, you have to, when do you destroy personal information if you don't have any right over it? I think on the other side, you have to consider things like government reporting requirements. Maybe, I think recently the BIR extended 10 years ng tax records ngayon. So it would seem to me that you might need to keep personal information that you can't use because you don't have consents, but you need to keep it for 10 years because BIR says, if there's a tax impact that's needed for audit, you need to keep that information. So you can see now that within your own organization, there will be islands of information. This information you can use for certain purposes. This information you may not be able to use. The other thing that you need to consider is that this isn't just about information about your customers. This is information about your people. HR information is covered, right? So let's say you're HR, you're handling sensitive information as well as non-sensitive personal information. If you're managing the health plan, diba? Every claim on the health plan will go through the HR kasi it's claim of conduit to the HMO. That's sensitive personal information because the person is disclosing medical information. That means that even within the HR department, they need to be able to make sure that that data is secure and that it may not be processed or disclosed to others without the consent of the employee. And when it comes, again, as I mentioned, when it comes to sensitive personal information, you absolutely have to get consent. So as I said, one of the things, so data privacy principles. If you're going to, one of the things that you need if you're going to get the consent is you have to tell them what data you're collecting from them and what you're going to use it for. Now, a big battleground might be what level of information are you going to give people? Should you tell them specifically? Like what you're going to use it for. The law indicates that, no? That you have to say specifically we're going to sell your information. Or we will not sell your information, we're going to use it internally. In the US, what you'll see for companies like Google, if you look at the Google data privacy policy, they say we protect your privacy, but we'll use it within the Google group of companies. And who knows what the Google group of companies is today or tomorrow, because they keep buying companies, right? And then if they use it within that means that, so they own DoubleClick, right? Which means that if they own DoubleClick, they can just link it up with your Gmail account, na de-anonymize ka na nila. And then they said within their privacy policy, they can use it. And here's what they have, catch-all that says, we can use it for the development of services that may benefit you. That's very open-ended. Because they don't even know what they're going to use it for, right? Because it's for the future. It's a very open-ended, catch-all that they put in their privacy policy. I think under Philippine law, or for that matter, since we come from EU law, this is inspired by EU law, hindi pwede yun. Kasi what's needed is that you know that when you give up information, there's a sense of predictability that will you get a sense of where your data is going. Not where you give it up to them and then they'll say, if we develop something in the future, we'll just use your data. Diba? And if you like it or not, then just tell us later. So this, I know somebody got creeped out by Google now because he signed up for a flight and then he bought a ticket. Pinadala yung e-ticket sa Gmail niya. All of a sudden, yung flight details niya was in his Gmail calendar. And then on the day he was about to leave, Gmail sends him his boarding pass. He said, what? Because this data is being used by Google now to perform a service that they didn't tell you they were going to do at the time they got the data, but now that things have changed and they have this new product. Imagine Google Glass. Google Glass can do. Google Glass has they're watching your eyeballs. So actually, one of the things that we'll be collecting is where you're looking at. So they have understand heads-up display. Where you're looking at on that screen, they can tell. If you blink out, it'll start to take a picture. Or maybe if you do a head gesture, it will start recording video. And it will later allow you to live stream that video. So if I had Google Glass now, or if you had Google Glass, you could be recording. So in some places actually, parang, that's collecting information, right? You're talking to somebody, somebody is collecting it, right? Recording it. And then, he might even be distributing it to others, if he's streaming it to others. So the idea of privacy is, in the case of the US, in an era of wearable computing, the idea of privacy is, well, it's going to have to change. I think to Scott McNeely who said, you already have zero privacy rights, get over it. And that's what he meant, that the technology will move forward in such a way that you will lose absolute control over your data. And that's what the Data Privacy Act is trying to solve. You know, try to rein it in. Tayo, may problem na tayo ngayon. I suppose everyone here is on FB. You know that if you have a picture on FB, you lose control over it. Diba? Because even if you take it down from your FB, if somebody tagged it or used it in their own page, wala, they got it, they have it. Diba, I think it was the sister Mark Zuckerberg, where she posted some private photos in her FB page, and siya pa. How ironic kasi sister yung Zuckerberg. So she used to work for Facebook. She said, okay, restricted, only friends can see these photos. And then na-leak sa media. Right? Because of the way, look, if I'm your friend, only I can see it, but there's nothing stopping me from grabbing it and then sending it to somebody else. That's the problem with personal information, like photos. You really end up losing control. Under Philippine law, hopefully that will not be, well, if this law is implemented by us, if we assert our rights, we can prevent those things from happening. So I said, you disclose the use, and then you're only supposed to use it for that purpose. Then you have an obligation to make sure that the data is accurate. Ito na, they will tell you that data is inaccurate. You have an obligation to make sure it's accurate. And then you get the consent of the data subject. I'll skip this because, as I mentioned earlier, I mentioned it before. Okay, so rights of the data subject, we mentioned this already. Okay, siguro last na lang. Two things. Security obligations. So, you have all this personal information that you have in your database. The law requires you to secure it in a particular way. So, you just need to go through the provisions. Now, people oftentimes mistake privacy as being equivalent to security. Right? When you say, in fact, when you talk to somebody about privacy, they'll come back to you and when you notice, they're not talking about privacy anymore, they're talking about security. We'll just put up a firewall. That is security, that's not privacy. Because what security, the way I think about it is this way. Let's say that we are all discrete pieces of information, right? We're all data. Some of us are anonymized data, some of us is personal information. Some of us in this room is sensitive personal information. That's my first time to use this analogy, so I hope it works. So the way I look at security is putting a wall in this room and making sure nobody gets out. That's the way I think of security, right? Privacy is some of us who are anonymized information can go out, right? Some of us that are sensitive personal information can only stay in certain places and go to certain restricted places. If it's personal information, the rules are different. So when you think about security is parang putting walls and making sure nothing is disclosed. Privacy has a layer on top of it, has a governance layer on top of it, because you need to control how that information is disclosed within your own. And there are legal obligations attached to that. So the way I think about this is that security covers all types of information. Privacy protects personal information and sensitive personal. So it's a subset under security. So definitely security is a major issue because if you cannot control that personal information and sensitive personal information, then you violate it. The difference is that yung security concerns mo about data are governed by, say, commercial concerns, maybe largely, on what your commercial interests are. But the regulation as to, the thing that regulates your use of personal information, sensitive personal information, will be the law. Okay? And the last thing I want to mention is the accountability principle. And this is important because you think that if you pass on the personal information, let's say I'm Citibank, and I sell information to another, one of these guys, insurance companies that you get a call from, right? Life insurance company. When Citibank transfers that data, under the accountability principle, Citibank continues to be liable if that person, the other person they transferred it to, If they violate the law, Citibank is accountable. Whether that third party is here